ready to start. So I'm Piotr Sankowski from University of Warsaw and Meme Solutions. And we are here to discuss kind of the flow of talents with respect to AI, having several experts from different stakeholders and parts of the world even. So we are here with Jarosław Królewski, who is a co-founder and CEO of Synerise. And then Anna Topol, who is CTO of Global Think Labs at IBM. Marta Kwiatkowska, professor at University of Warsaw, Oxford, sorry. I wish she was in Warsaw. Adam Niewiński, who is a managing partner and co-founder of OBT Ventures. So we are here, and I think kind of, what puzzles us, certainly in Poland, is the global kind of strike for kind of fight for talent at AI. We are, in particular, trying to set up new research centers in Warsaw, which is a fight, at least in our case. But we do succeed, and I think it's really kind of important to rethink how academic institutions work. So there is this concept of fourth generation of academic institutions that work locally with industry. I mean, really kind of are embedded well into the local ecosystem, but as well outreach, have a global outreach and do try to be the gateway for global innovation in local ecosystems. So this is kind of the idea of this panel. And the first question I would have is to Marta Kwiatkowska. So you part of your career was in UK and in Poland, and these countries differ a lot from respect to academic institutions to how kind of we train people. For example, in UK, you have kind of top universities, whether in Poland we lack kind of top world universities, but still are able to train kind of really best programmers, best young people, for example, at University of Warsaw. This is the only university that takes 30 years in a row in the finals of ICPC, ICM programming contest. So could you share your perspective of how things differ kind of like in local ecosystems in Poland, UK?
Okay, thank you, Piotr. Yes, it is true that the UK has some top universities, in the world, but I would say that Poland also has pockets of excellence. I think, universities from Warsaw, Kraków, Jagiellonian University, which is, where I graduated from, Wrocław. I think they are very visible internationally and they compete. I would say also that a great strength, and this is something that's probably appreciated by all the tech companies and universities abroad that employ Polish people, is the quality of education. And this is something that I feel that I have benefited from. And looking around here, I assume that we have all benefited from that. And this is particularly true for STEM, maths education, and computer science education. This is something that has sustained me in my career for 40 years. Okay, I think we are looking at AI and what AI is doing. I chose to study computer science, more than 40 years ago. So it's been a long time. Right, now, in terms of the differences, I have some connection to Poland because I have a part-time appointment at the Polish Academy of Sciences, but from what I hear, the academic career structure has not changed, and also the academic culture in the universities has not changed since I was a junior assistant professor. What I mean by that is just to address it through a contrast with the UK. In the UK, recruitment is open to all talent, wherever that talent comes from. So all the positions are advertised internationally, and we recruit internationally as opposed to having positions advertised only within a given university. Another difference is independence early on. So junior assistant professors can supervise PhD students, they can build their own groups, apply for grants, etc. They are also encouraged and expected to compete internationally, to submit to the top conferences. In computer science, we submit to conferences. And evaluation, so for promotion, their evaluation is based on the success of their research and in what way it has changed the field, or perhaps has made some impact either on other areas or in industry, but it is not based on points or impact factor, because these can be gamed and manipulated. So I think these are the kind of key points that I think differentiate, I think, the Polish and the British, and I would say actually, international Western career structure.
Thank you. So Anna, from the perspective of global companies, so you are kind of really, I think, hiring these talented people to implement new initiatives, new technologies, prototyping new technologies. And I mean, how would you? I mean, do you really notice the difference? Like, if you hire somebody from UK or from Poland or from US, do they lack some perspective? Or I mean, does it really matter or does not? I mean, does it actually change between like continents? How?
Yeah, since you asked about skills, I think I also wanted to say that the skills, the type of skills we want are changing. So it's not that we just want the computer scientists, right? So we need now broader set of skills. So if you think of a general history of the skills we needed, in 1956, when some of the AI groups came to play, it was really US, MIT, IBM. Later, UK was very strong with the strong government sponsorship, and those skills were more of the, think of it, theory and scientific based with a lot of programming. That's the core of skills we needed and we required. But I think if you think of the 1980s, when huge development of technology happened, Japan invested a lot. And by the way, going back to 1950s and 60s, Poland was already there, having the skills that we needed from programming point of view. In 1980s, Japan sponsored a lot of technology, even though at the beginning of 1980s, UK and US did not invest as much in AI, saying that it's not bringing enough expected value. Japan did, and then boom happened. And then the skill set changed again. And this time we needed more people who understood models. So mathematicians, of course, were important, but more folks who understood models. The whole data science, completely new area of data science came to play. And please remember that this is the time when we had democratization almost of AI, because we have more compute that was available everywhere. We had more access because, if you think over the last 20 years, cloud, so you may not need infrastructure to access some of the capabilities. And most importantly, worldwide, everyone has access to the knowledge. So in a real time, you can learn on your own, even if you are not at the very good university, how to do those things. All of us today can simply be enablers of AI. Any one of us can go on a phone, train AI, instruct AI, be the prompt engineers. By the way, prompt engineering, another very interesting career, which, by the way, may not be there in 10 years. We don't know. I think if you now ask me what are the skills for the future, because I think the technology is developing so fast. We are talking about very complex systems that we're going to be building. And again, at this point, we democratize everything. It's AI is semi-mainstream. Everybody has it. Taxi driver has it. Everybody has it. But it's the basic AI, very simple AI. When we talk about the next gen of AI, of the very complex systems, the agents, what we call the generative systems, we again starting with the hubs of knowledge. And they come because, number one, we talk about trillion parameter models. So you have to have infrastructure. So US, again, companies and organizations who can invest in it. We've seen a lot of investments in Japan, China. We've seen investment in Middle East countries. But it's not just about big models, because I think everybody thinks that it's wherever money is, where the infrastructure is. I think at the end, the AI systems still need a lot of human capabilities. We talked about prompt engineering. That was all about labeling. We're at the next era of needing humans. But this time, it will be all the humans who need to allow AI system to learn more, instruct AI systems. We're going to need physicists. We're going to need chemists. We're going to need engineers. And the programmers will have to work with them. And so, in my mind, countries that have a very strong programs in multi-sciences would be very good. So, of course, US, UK, Poland, absolutely. But I think it's about how we train the programmers, the new generations, to work with those new players. And, of course, I'm adding policymakers, the whole understanding of ethics, the governance, data lifecycle management, all different new skills that we have to bring to play. So the question is, will the new programs include some of those additional skills?
Thank you. So, Jarek, from your perspective, so you're exactly, kind of doing what the title of the panel says. Meaning building, you're basing on local talents, building kind of a company which proposes a global kind of solutions in AI. And your company is already, I think, around 10 years or maybe even older. Sorry, I don't remember exactly, but
No worries.
sorry.
No worries.
But in this time, when you have been running companies, so have you seen similar kind of changes in the kind of talent? Do really kind of this ecosystem or training ecosystem, universities really adopt to the changes? Do the kind of people you hired 10 years ago are exactly the same, and you need to retrain them because the set of skills is very different right now?
I'm, by the way, representing Kraków, so Kraków. Also, IGN University of the Kraków, working there almost 12 years. I think that definitely when you think about our part of the Europe, we need to think about not only what is happening right now, but what we have and what we got from the past, unfortunately. And because when we would like to characterize our approach to how we just made the science or like the building the businesses, we have, of course, some amazing skills, but also we have a lot of gaps in what we are doing, how we are just promoting ourselves, how we are building the solutions, and so on. I am super happy and super proud that I am in Poland because we are building the deep tech company. So we are not deploying some other solutions, but we are building that from the scratch, both in the big data systems and AI models as well. So people who are in Poland are amazing for us because the students, like the researchers, professors, are just amazing. This is a little bit old schools of the mathematics, old school of how we teach people, and definitely the Polish engineers are very prominent. Not only Polish, but I think so Central Eastern Europe. But we could be also metaphor for the other local, communities and companies and people, because we are of course speaking today right now about Poland and Polish, talents. But we can resonate that for another countries and for another like great people as well. And I see a lot of changes. Of course, when you are building your company in Poland, everything is harder, when you like to try to go global, because raising money is harder, doing business is harder, you are always tropical in terms of what you would like to deliver. But it was always my dream, to not be like USA company, UK company, and have everything light in this journey, but trying, to show that from the local economy, you can build something global, which will be used by global companies in the end of the day. And I am proud that a lot of companies are using Synerise right now globally. And I think that the mindset of the engineers is already is changing. I think that they try to learn more business skills because they see, that sometimes the abilities and great, knowledge they have, they cannot sell it in the proper way. I think that last 10 years, the knowledge and the skills of the Polish engineers was not sold in the way it should be sold. And I think that one of the biggest problem of the Poland right now is that we cannot promote ourselves. Just University of Warsaw, we were speaking that during the Davos meetings this week is, I don't know, second in Europe, 9 in the world in terms of the computer science. Is extreme. It's amazing. It's something which is crucial when you think about the OpenAI, some other big companies, research papers which are crucial for the LLMs made by Polish people. We are, if we are being in America, I think so, we'll be like the superstars, like the professors will be superstars. Universities will get not only the money which are like from governance, but also from some private investors and so on and so forth. So I think that we need to build the culture of entrepreneurship, which will be, of course, healthy, not to try to do something which is not authentic, because I think that everything is about the authenticity right now. We cannot be like both like the great marketers and great engineers, I think so, in the same aspects, in the same in some extent. And yes, definitely we need to should promote ourselves. And I think that the people have right now such feeling that they need to do that. So I see already that a lot of great engineers try to extend their knowledge to some business skills, like you mentioned. Fortunately and unfortunately, without that, we will be in the second tier always, because we cannot say about us that we can build something great, but we can also show how it could have like the business impact in the end of the day. Our science also need to be promoted in a better way. I think that Polish engineers should be also one of those who are shaping the world AI revolution. But we need to speak about that more. We are presenting the reports. Last one, which was created by MACI and Bain in Poland, is showing some perspective, some landscape of the Polish companies and also schools, universities, and we need to do more in that. I think that we need to more invest in the schools, kindergartens as well, but we are already doing that as well, so we need to also speak about that more. So this is my perspective. I think that we will have more like the professors like you, like Professor Trzciński, who will be just presenting us more as a people who not understand only, the great, science approach to do AI, which is obviously something which we are doing great, but you will present also that we can just understand reality and the world, how we can implement the knowledge you are providing to us. And I am very proud that this is like that right now.
Thanks. So, Adam, I mean, would you share the same kind of thoughts about kind of how, I mean, you have seen many companies grow in Central and Eastern Europe, overseeing them, investing in these companies. I mean, would you say that, they differ between the countries, or we lack some skills, or, I mean, these companies are really, not managed, or kind of, if you kind of an engineer creates a company, does it create some problems? Should we learn, should we teach the founders some new skills? And
So, good morning, everyone. First of all, I do believe, and I do agree, and it may sound boring, but yes, the whole, I would say, Central and Eastern Europe, of course, Poland is like probably half of it, is having an amazing technical talent pool. There is just, I would say, the ability to practice math, physics, tech it's just above average. That's for sure. What's below average is these are the commercial skills. And as much as we are capable of educate some of the greatest minds really in engineering, in technical areas, we are not having naturally those business, sales, commercial skills. So this is something that we are definitely missing in Central and Eastern Europe. I would say broadly in continental Europe. Probably UK would be a bit different. It's more like US. That's definitely the strength of Israel, where they also have a good technical skills. By the way, majority of them coming from Central and Eastern Europe. But they have this amazing business drive that continental Europe, and especially Central and Eastern Europe, is missing. So when it comes what we are missing, these are the business commercial skills, but technical skills are awesome. The way how I see that this being, I would say, slowly, improving and changing is that by, like some of those great success stories coming from the region, and then, like those places, those cities or these regions that they are giving birth to some of those big success stories are then transforming based on this role model and this success story. So obviously, Estonia, which is like known for having an amazing number of unicorns and great companies, apparently the largest number of unicorns per capita. It's the result of having Skype very early on. Skype was one of the first unicorns. Of course, like we wouldn't consider Skype today a deep tech, but back, like at the time it was invented, it was definitely, like a breakthrough technology, and it gave birth to I would say, to generations of companies. In many areas, in robotics, in SaaS, in I would say all sorts of different companies, because entrepreneurs there, on one hand, started to believe that it's doable. They also got kind of a toolbox, for them to understand how they can do that. So it's not just a dream, like of conquering the world, but you are actually capable of doing it, and you actually saw this happening. I would say that UiPath from Bucharest, Romania, it's a similar example. Unfortunately, it's also an example of company migrating to US, and today, I would say pretending to be a US company. It's a Romanian company, to the roots, but obviously for many reasons, like commercial and financial mainly, like they try to pretend that you are US. But again, the influence that they gave for the Romanian ecosystem is just amazing. So what does it bring? I believe it brings, like the courage, it brings, like the belief, it brings, like the real belief that yes, you can be a global company coming from Tallinn, Bucharest, Warsaw, or any other city. Basically, it doesn't matter, like how big is the city, like, and this is also the beauty of Europe, like in Europe we have 100 cities with at least one unicorn. Basically, any city with a university or especially technical university can give a birth to a next great technical idea.
Thanks. So Marta, Adam said that universities play as well a crucial role. I mean, it's not only the first company, first unicorn that's important, but as well academic institutions impact the ecosystem. And I mean, could you? I mean, of course, I wanted you to comment on this, but as well to give kind of your perspective on the changes on AI. So we know that this technology is really changing super fast, like the laboratories at universities produce new kind of technologies, new ideas, more general solution, interdisciplinary solutions, and this will as well impact kind of the companies, the businesses. So can you comment on how do you see the changes, how it works right now, and what can be important in future?
Yeah, I think I fully agree with what Anna said, that there is the stream of, technical skills that are needed. From my background, because I've been working at the theoretical end of spectrum, I've always been arguing for, more rigorous engineering that is needed in AI. But we don't just need data science and data engineering. We also need deep science that will try to understand and push forward the AI, which is supposed to be artificial AI, but it's supposed to model the human intelligence. I think at the moment, what we have is we definitely have something that's artificial, okay? Whether it's fully intelligent, I think the jury is still out. So we do need more university effort, but sort of, more like blue sky research, which is not constrained, by what the technology companies are pushing. So, for example, the next version of Transformers. I think we need to have some research where people can investigate completely new ideas, and I think this is what universities are for, because academics have academic freedom. They can choose what they want to work on. They have access to students. If they enthuse the students, then new students, will help them experiment and just, push things forward. And this is, on the one hand, will feed into developments into AI, but on the other hand, these ideas can also be developed commercially, into startups. And that's why most of these startups originate from universities or, students. So that's one side, just pushing forward AI, deeper and better understanding and better AI. But the other one, because AI is now touching everything, and AI is going to be, I think, of really great help in science, as we know, about the Nobel Prize and AlphaFold, but I think it also has huge potential in medicine. But I think what is needed there is close collaboration with domain experts, say medics or scientists, in order to develop AI tools that the scientists and the medics can trust. They know, they know how to work with those tools. So, how to ask the question. Okay, not necessarily, prompt engineering, but how to form a hypothesis, how to get input, from AI, interpret the input, modify the hypothesis, and, ultimately validate, some observations, perhaps, even whether this is, a new molecule or perhaps a new drug. And for that, there is a need for broader skills, scientifically, academically. I think we also need, we shouldn't be leaving out, even languages, because languages, linguistics is very important in AI, I think, these days. But I think for something like the startups, or as you've mentioned, the fourth generation, institutions, I think we need an ecosystem. So we need to have a way, I think, for people to network and get access, perhaps not just to advice on how to pitch and, how to do market research, but also how to access venture capitalists, etc.
Yes, thank you. So Anna, so far, it was mentioned many times. Like in 80s, 90s, I mean, the programmers were the key part of AI. Now we see really very different kind of jobs like AI shepherds, AI prompt engineers, and would you think that this will continue to change? I mean, people will. I mean, it really will. We will see many new jobs. Around AI. I mean, the job market will change completely. Do you see such trends? And from my perspective, I mean, should we really change the ecosystems we have right now? I mean, should we train people differently at universities? Because I mean, programming might not be needed anymore. I mean, people will be explaining to AI what they want to, the code it should write, and so it really changes the skills needed.
So I do agree that programming skills will be changing, and I can, but I also think we will need programmers. I just wanted to say, I absolutely think we'll need programmers. So you're good, you're good. Why do I think that the programming skills will be changing? I think till now, what we valued the most in programmers was the craft. And that's why Polish, for example, Polish programming was so important. I will give you an example. We have laboratories across the world. Laboratory in Yorktown that I work with, laboratory in Israel that we work with, actually works with Krakow IBM laboratory. That's where the skills of the really good programmers is for us. That skill of amazing documentation, not just the programming itself from the mathematics point of view, but really the craft of programming was very important. I will tell you that there are companies already who are, when they are interviewing new programmers, they give a programmer the traditional interview, which is program something for me, and they already in their interviews asking, use any AI tool you think is appropriate to create a program for me. So in that case, if a programmer is not strong on documentation, they can use all different AI tools. We have them already, code creating, code error correction, all different ways to provide a program that will be absolutely satisfactory for the test, for the exam, or what they need to do. So the question is, where would that take us in a future? I don't think we want programmers to lose the craft. I think that core of knowing it is very important, but we need to teach programmers flexibility. On-a-day jobs, what is needed in industry, what means effectiveness, and so forth. And I will give you an example in building from what you said of, yes, we need to focus on sciences and we need the blue sky development that comes from education and from universities. In India, the National Education Policy announced a new program. They call it Professors of Practice. So for 1 year to 3 years, people from industry become teachers at universities so that the students can learn, shorten that gap from what they learned at school versus what we're gonna require in industry. So the students are to think like employees of the companies, of the clients, but the people in academia working with those students are supposed to think like students. And so to really combine the capabilities from both of them. Purposely, those jobs are not requiring to be PhDs, because if you are in industry for a very long time, you have different qualifications that may be very important to you, and those jobs are only for 1 to 3 years. So these are not the 10 years typical. They are not taking away the assigned professors' curriculum, they're just adding capabilities. And the reason why they do that is because when we're talking about changing academic programs, that was one of those things that was identified that would enable many professors to bring students who would be much more excited about learning both the theory, in which professors are already trained and they are very good at, and the practice. So they don't have to go out to do internships. They can get some type of curriculum during their stay at the universities. And I think that's huge. And that would be not just for programming, that would be for many other educational capacities. Languages, multilingual for AI is huge. I think in programming right now, we got to multimodal, language, text, video. That's where we all are right now. But I think if you think of everything we do, building language models for each of the countries, understanding the differences, for next few years, people who are multilingual or who really understand language will be incredibly important. Now, once we teach AI to understand all of those, would they be again important 10 years from now? I don't know, right? This is the ever-changing needs. As AI develops, we continuously see new needs. What I'm hoping for, though, and this is my comments of the things that change, and that's my naive scientific view of how we can do better, is the following. We already have something that is called International Science Reserve. I, as a scientist, sign myself to International Science Reserve pool so that me and other scientists, by the way, I work for IBM and I work for the Science Reserve, International Science Reserve for free, and IBM knows that I signed up for this. It's because for the challenging world problems, we need congregation of community skills to together attack very difficult problems. And I'm really hoping that not just for each country, that each country will create the scientific reserve for their own country, but if you imagine UK, Poland, or any country who creates AI initiative, for that country, there are specific problems that are the most important. Would it be, for some, would it be medicine? For some, would it be sustainability? For some, will be financial problem, whatever that is. If you have the scientific reserve, the pool of the people who volunteers to do it, that motivates the students. Because right now what motivated students is hackathons. A company organized hackathons. All the students wanted to gain new skills, and they for free worked for the companies. But now we will be motivating everybody to fight and work for the science that is important to social good for specific countries. And so I think if we created something similar for programmers also, this community of programmers and scientists that instruct and help programmers to create new AIs for social good of specific country or internationally, I think will be even better in the future. But we need to work towards this. I think that's my hope.
Mm-hmm. So Jarek, thanks. I mean, I exactly wanted to follow on this. So Synerise is strongly engaged into building kind of local ecosystem in Krakow. So how would you take it from what Anna said? I mean, do you see similar initiatives? I mean, something which you did as well, and I think it's very special. I mean, you started preschool AI courses in Krakow even. So, I mean, can you comment on what you do and how your approach to local ecosystem works? I mean,
of course. At first, I'm super happy that you are mentioning this example, that you are bringing the business to teaching at the university. I remember in 2010, I ran such an initiative. Almost 40 people from the industry in IGH Krakow was come to the university to teach the students, and it was amazing. It was shock for the professors, that they gain hours to teach the students. It was quite big experiment. It's still like there, so it's amazing. We have like almost 10 different types of the courses, and it's working great. It's like, but the most important thing here is also what Professor Marta just mentioned. It should be always some like the not practical way of doing science, because it is super important in giving you like the opportunity to move forward as a discipline. Yes, we made like the experiment in 2018. Of course, we plan to do it 2-3 years before to execute the vision that we can and should teach AI on the level not only universities, high schools, but also in kindergartens and the primary schools. Right now everybody is talking about the AI. It's obvious for everything, but just imagine, saying to everybody in 2018 that the people in the like the young students and children in kindergarten should learn and being like the aware of AI. It was like you are taking the drugs or something like that. It was not so obvious. But the experiment was amazing because it was not like the teaching, the AI itself, like the very complicated things. It was more about on the meta level with the logical approach to, to life and showing some robotics and so on. And I think that it is super important. I think that investing in education is one of the best investments we can have. And I think that this is part of our responsibilities as a companies, as a business leaders, to put our effort to educate, societies, to educate people, to change, also the administration in terms of the how government is working. Because I think that in the long-term perspective, this is the value which will be just creating the vision of the country itself. So, and also the new companies, new startups, new ideas. If we just give those tools to the people, young people, it will be amazing. It's like a very nice notion which I heard like a couple months ago, which was called one man. Sorry, because I was sick 3 days. One man unicorn. This is amazing. It means that you could have like the sitting in your village. I am from a very small village, 300 people only. And you can just sit in your place, having like the amazing brain, doing amazing things, learn so much different things, and thanks to amazing program, amazing algorithm, approach to what you are doing in terms of the AI, you can literally change the world and become somebody who are like also changing whole discipline, like the calibration of some models, like the finding the new way of the compression of the files, whatever. It could be done, remotely. It could be done in a very simple way. So I think that this is a very romantic story, but very important story, because it's showing the people wherever you are. It doesn't depend that you need to have like a lot of big knowledge from the university and so on, but you can just do it by your own. But having such awareness, you need to know about that. Somebody needs to give you that information. So if you try to, building an ecosystem which will be based on the education, we are giving that tools to those people. So I think that this is very important. And I think that later they will just do with that whatever they want. But at first we need to give them the tools.
Thanks. So, I mean, I do like the story about one-person unicorn, and this is exactly what I wanted to follow with Adam. So, I mean, we really should expect that how companies work will change completely. Of course, you mentioned Skype, which was deep tech years ago, and right now it's no longer. I mean, would no longer be considered deep tech. But I mean, this changes. Completely right now. I mean, more work will be done by AI. There will be companies when, I don't know, half of the workforce is given to AI. Are you ready to take up the challenge? I mean, do you see already kind of, startups applying to your venture so that they propose that, we are building an AI company?
Yeah, actually, we see the beginning of this, and I know of a person, like actually from Stanford, who is running 3 parallel startups, none of them hiring anyone. All of those 3 having already like 1 million ARR. And this is obviously exciting. It is obviously all based on AI. The trick is that I don't think it's scalable yet. Meaning, it's a different thing, like to reach 1 million ARR. It's a different thing to reach 100 million ARR. So would I invest in something like this? Well, it obviously all depends on the valuation, because like I really do believe that at some point, this person will need to really decide which one to focus on, because I'm really big believer in focus and really commitment, and really dedication, and I don't believe that we are already at the stage that he would be really able to scale all those 3 businesses without hiring anyone, and like reaching a sizable effect rather than more of a pilot, which we are having right now. So, but to answer your question, yes, like it starts to happen. And obviously, we're gonna see much more of that. Actually, we are in a bit comfortable position because, like we've never been a so-called generalist VC, meaning doing marketplaces, e-commerces, like anything. We've always been very much focused on what we call deep tech, like there is no universal definition of deep tech, but basically unique IP, disruptive tech, like scaling globally. So we love space tech, we love robotic automation, we love obviously AI, but like it's not yet that easy to make a breakthrough, like just based on AI, though we obviously love those business models, like going forward. And I think it's a existential threat to typical software companies like SaaS companies. This is, I believe, in the long term, a layer that is gonna disappear basically. Like you just need a database and an AI agent, and that's it. Like this layer of SaaS will eventually disappear. Of course, it won't happen overnight. Like they won't disappear next year, but I think we'll see a decline of the SaaS trend, and it's really inevitable, and it's going to be big. It's going to be really transformational. I also wanted, like to come back for a second, like to the previous discussion, because like I believe, like with this tech talent, there are a few observations that we see. Like the first one, it's really hard for some, like to make this move and to do the startup. And in Poland, for instance, probably not everyone knows that Poland is the second largest R&D center of Samsung outside of Korea, meaning like this is the largest outside of Korea, yeah? There's almost 3,000 PhDs and PhD candidates working there. But unfortunately, we don't really see too much of startups coming out of this. I actually, like back when we've been setting up OTB 8 years ago, I was positive that it's gonna be like a constant supply of startups coming out of Samsung. Like I was thinking, okay, maybe not 10%, maybe 5% annually coming out, doing something, like it's a huge amount of people, really smart people in tech. We don't see this happening. So this is, I would say, something that I wanted to message one thing. Second thing, out of 5 Polish founders that we've invested in, only one actually set it up a company in Poland. All the others left Poland, like look around, I don't know, broaden their horizons, and then set up their business. Actually, all of them are having R&D in Poland, but they've set it up their businesses outside of Poland. I think it's very much telling, and it's not only our case, like I can name several success story cases of similar people that had to leave Poland, like to really think globally and to compete globally. Like I know that there are successful cases in Poland, and Jarek would be definitely one. And as mentioned, like we happen to also have one founder like that, but it's 1 out of 5, at least in our case. And lastly, what we see in our portfolio is that talent brings talent, and talent goes to talent. Meaning, if a company is having an amazing CTO, like really globally recognized, from like and people knows that he or she is a real expert, and everyone is like a big fan of what he or she is doing, then it's relatively easy to bring more talent and to make this company really great. Without this, bringing like some of the smartest minds want to work with some of the smartest minds, preferably even smarter than them, or at least as smart. If it's not the case, you cannot really build an AI company.
Thank you. So I think we have some time for questions. Not sure we have a mic, but if you would, yeah, we have a mic. So if somebody has a question, then please.
It is. We can hear.
We've interviewed over 120 people on our 2 podcasts over the past year. We've been to events across Europe in the past 7 months. The news, the press this week, a momentous week, obviously, in terms of U.S. politics, et cetera. But the news this week is pessimistic, is the way that the Financial Times ended up referring to it today in one of their articles. Does Europe have to worry in terms of the brain drain? Certainly Yarrow and Adam touched on this to a grand degree, because to Adam's point, talent's going to go to where they want to, be better. Does Europe have to worry? And certainly everyone everywhere is trying to create their own, research centers and their own centers of excellence. Saudi Arabia at LEAP in 2 weeks' time, India, Malaysia, et cetera. But could Europe be one of the first to go falling, really, when it comes to trying to be able to keep the talent there? Yes, but also losing because to your point, what has really come out of Europe, to be able to really excel, especially with so much going on in the States. And I know that I'm the American in the room asking this question, and
Wow, thank you.
It's not about this. I'm half Polish and half Lithuanian. I want to see Poland succeed. Spoke to an investor on the street of one of the 2 benches on the promenade last night. Of course, he wants to see Poland succeed. But it will Europe or will Europe fall as a result of this lack of talent that will leave?
And definitely, I think that keeping the talents is one of the biggest challenges we have right now, and we need to wake up as a Europe. Just wake up, and of course it means like the financial investments, but also like the changing our mental way of thinking about the delivering innovations in terms of the legislation and everything else. Brevity, being brave here, being much more open for the innovations, for the cycle of the innovation, without so many regulations we have in Poland and some other else.
You touched on that specifically, where Europe might be constraining itself, and whether it's the EU Act or whether it's taxation, there's not necessarily a welcoming environment here.
Exactly, and I think that it also will be good for the science. It's like when we see China, when we see United States investment in science, it's more about to being open. It's being more about to experiment, to make the mistakes, to try to do it, bring the innovation to life. Not trying to make it like that. That we will be thinking about if I should prepare that model because that model will be maybe discriminate somebody or not, and we need to have like the 2 years path to judge this model, to try to grade this model. Who need to judge that? Even me as the CEO of the company, I have like some amazing, intelligent people there working on that model 16 hours sometimes per day, dedicated their life to that. And what kind of people could judge that? What kind of people could examine that, evaluate that? It's incredible. It's even not possible. Whatever we are talking about the black box, because in this layer of the neural network, you will not know even. So it's not like this so easy subject. But definitely we need to wake up. I think that the question is absolutely relevant, and for us as a company from that region, it's super hard to keep the people in the company. We are keeping that people because we are doing something which is extraordinary and sexy in terms of what we can just deliver to the market and how the vision of the David and the Goliath looks like right now. But in the end of the day, when you think about later about those people, if they get like the great salaries from abroad companies, from United States companies, still having like the opportunity to sit in Poland and having like the salaries from United States or some other part in the world, it will be super hard to keep them here. It will be super hard to keep even like the mental health of the founders to start the company in Europe, because if they have like the much more easy ability to grab the money, being like the USA company, because Haku IP is a United States IP. It will be much more easier. We for example choose like the harder way to be a Polish company, and it's always the problem. How to raise the money, how to match our legislation system of equity to the USA system of the equity. We have last transaction with the New York Stock Exchange company, which invests in minority in my company. Just imagine the process how to do investing like the company from the stock exchange company to Polish company in Krakow. It was like nightmare in the end of the day. So there is a lot of problems here, and we need to just change. And I listened, chief of the European Union yesterday or a couple of days ago here in Davos, speaking that we need to be much more brave. We need to just avoid some legislation. I hope so. This will be not the promises. I hope so. It will be real politics, and we need to do that. But the question is super important.
Thanks. So we are running out of time. This is a question I wanted to ask. If no question from the audience, so thanks. And thanks for our panelists, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.